only take phone calls, like councils only taking calls on a Friday between 10 and 2 or something, arrangements like that. Like it's prehistoric in a way. Like it's just, yeah. So it's, and then to mention, talk about the costs of consultants, because if we're talking about all this time that it takes, they're billing for that time when they're touching that set of plans. It can be thousands and thousands of dollars.
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
G'day. Welcome to another episode of Builders Beyond Borders. Today we have myself and Shannon from DJH Builders in Launceston, Tasmania, Paul from Independent Building Solutions up there in sunny Canberra, and Hugh from New Realm Homes in the busiest state, if you believe him, in Victoria. Today we were going to talk about consultants and what to expect with timeframes and costs. So when we talk about consultants, they're the people that typically design, draw, engineer, and also certify plans for renovations, extensions, new homes, new developments, and basically give us all the relevant documentation that we need to build a project. In our business, we see it a lot with our renovations and extensions, and I think cost and time frame are something that a lot of the homeowners out there don't realise how long things can take from when they have a concept of a proposal for a new project to excavators rocking up on site for the first day can be quite a long time. Yeah, we'll just have a bit of a chat about that one. Paul, I think you've had a fair bit of experience with councils and things like that in the past.
Yeah, I'm sure we all have, but yeah, it can be very time consuming. Like you're talking about the excavator starting and that sort of thing, but the process from the excavator starting backwards to when you first quote the job and get the go ahead by your clients can take sometimes longer than the actual job itself does. For the time the excavator gets here, to the time the painter and the cleaner leave, can be shorter than the approval process quite often, depending on all the different circumstances. But yeah, so I've got a couple of jobs I'm chasing recently that have been in the councils or been in the certification process since about October, November last year. And they're still not ready. They should be out any time now, but it's very frustrating, and it's hard to schedule your jobs and plan your jobs. And you can't give your clients a start date. You can only keep telling them that you're doing the best you can because they won't commit to anything. They'll say, oh, it might be another week or two. It's not too far off. We're working on it. Give us a call back next week. That's all they'll give you. They won't give you any kind of something you can work with or something you can give your clients. So, yeah, it can be very hard. And certifiers, engineers, those guys, they're very busy. I understand everyone's busy, but they have automated phone systems. They don't return your calls, or if they do, it takes them a week to get back to you sometimes. Well, engineers are the same. They just don't return your calls. They don't answer your emails. They just...
One of our building designers, he told me the other day, he said he has 209 projects on his books at the moment for a team of about, what's he got, 10 or a dozen people, something like that.
Yep.
So 209 projects that he's currently working on. So,
is that like above what's the normal average for him? Did you sort of go into those details? So like you wonder about how fast they can turn these jobs around. I was chasing an engineer for a design on an extension a few months ago, and it had been there for 2 months, and I'd sent him a couple of emails, hadn't replied to it. I'll give him a call, and he actually answered the phone. Or he didn't answer the phone. He rang me back 10 minutes later. Said, I'm just chasing this such and such a job. I'm sending, and he's looking on his computer. What date was it? And I'm looking on mine, and I gave him the date. And he said, oh, yeah, here it is. I found it. Okay, I'll get onto it for you. And then 3 hours later, I had it.
Yeah.
So it took him that long to do it once he pulled his finger out and actually did it. So
That's sort of backlog.
if they can turn over 3 or 4 a day, I mean, is 200 jobs a lot for those guys or not? I guess some probably take a lot longer than others.
Yeah.
And that one I'm talking about was a simple one.
Yeah, having a building designer have 209, like they're all at different stages. Are they with the engineering or are they with the
Well, I mean,
what are the
could be in with the council for a CLC before they even start a design. Like they might be have only punched out a basic floor plan and put it in for a certificate of likely compliance to the council or to the building surveyor.
or soil tester? Like there's so many consultants, like the environmental, the water people.
Yeah, bushfire.
Yeah.
It's all. There's a lot of toing and froing between all the people behind the scenes to do all that. I mean, a lot of our building designers, if people when they start a prospective project, we usually tell them about 4 months to get their plans sort of to a point where they'll be able to submit them to council, and then council takes as long as it wants to. They don't really care.
But it's been a lot longer for some projects because it just gets a bit too difficult to get stopped at one consultant and it doesn't move past that while they're contemplating what we're going to do and different design ideas. And, if it's the compliance is an issue with what they need to draw and that fight between building designers and engineers and the building surveyors involved. And it's just so time consuming.
And that's right. We don't understand the process. We know it's got to go through all those clearances. It's got to go to all those departments. But throwing numbers at you saying we got 200 or we got 1,000 or we got doesn't really help. Doesn't mean anything. Do you think was that a lot? It's not a lot, really. The way I see it, you should be able to look at 20 plans a day. Back in the old days, you used to go into the National Capital Development Commission we had back here up until the 80s. The building inspectors would be there. It was before private certification. They'd have a look over the plan with you and stamp it on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right.
Now look what we've got from that to this. It's
Yeah.
just extreme to the other, isn't it?
Yeah, only take phone calls, like councils, only taking calls on a Friday between 10 and 2 or something, arrangements like that. Like it's prehistoric in a way, like it's just backwards. Yeah, so and then to mention talk about the costs of consultants, because if we're talking about all this time that it takes, they're billing for that time when they're touching that set of plans. It can be thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, especially with engineers. I mean, they charge $1,000 for a couple of hours' work, don't they?
Yeah,
but there's not much you can do about it. It's just what it is. So that's another one of the things people don't realise. You've got all these people charging those sort of prices, and that's what pushes our prices up. It's not the builders that are overcharging them. It's just an accumulation of professionals, and professionals can obviously charge reasonable rates. Just got to live with that.
And simple things like the soil testing, like if it's a problem site, then that's going to absolutely impact the engineering and the design of the property, especially like a new build, and add expense if you're having to pour however many piers to meet the standard for that particular soil classification. So there's so many different elements that can make the price just skyrocket in an instant.
And things like wastewater design as well. We have a project at the moment. It's been going on quite a while now, where it hadn't been flagged, and they had assumed that the original septic system was fine, and went into council. Mind you, this is working with an architect, not a building designer, so much. So he probably should have had the foresight to have that done, and now they've just had to go and have quotes done for wastewater design and things like that, and then still have it go into the certificate of likely compliance with the council. Right. It all just takes so much time and now cost, because they've had to pay another designer to come up with a new wastewater system for them.
While it can seem so overwhelming, that this is obviously not going to be a deterrent for people just to give up and not even start thinking about a build or a renovation. I know with us, if people contact us at really early stage, and that's what we encourage, for them to get advice from us about how it works. And then we put people into a nurture stage. So we will, refer building designers, and then that starts the process, and we'll always be their voice when it comes to talking to these consultants with the construction terminology and things like that. So do you guys do that sort of thing? Put them into a nurture phase, or how do you do it? Yep. Yeah.
Because you'd have a lot to do with extensions and renos in Melbourne there on those on the California bungalow homes that you sort of work on. Well, do they have any sort of heritage?
Oh yeah. As soon as you get the red tape stuff of heritage overlays or anything like that, it just becomes diabolical. I mean, even to the extent like I just started 2 townhouses, and on this particular property, the overlays on the property, all stuff that's come in from council. The most painful one of the lot, and this is just I don't know how councils even think that this sort of thing is okay, but a significant landscape overlay, and as soon as you got one simple thing on that, you're not allowed to cut a tree, not allowed to touch a tree in any way, shape, or form without getting a permit.
Yeah.
And this is a council stipulation in their planning scheme and this sort of thing, and it's ridiculous. And so, luckily enough, with the planning permit, we did make sure that we had allowed for tree removal and all that sort of thing, so we didn't have to double up and do all these extra things. But it just goes back to how much red tape there is, and how many different professionals we actually need to engage, and then how much it costs, because each one of them tacks on a little bit,
Yeah.
and we can have the pre-construction phase of any project run from, say, 4 months for something relatively easy and straightforward that doesn't need planning permission, all the way through to 2 years, depending on how large things are. And the one of the worst things that happens in amongst all that, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but you can tick all the boxes, and you can cross everything off when it comes to the red tape and the stupid things that each professional might need. It's hilarious, because the council, when it comes to a planning permit, you've got 2 years to start construction.
Yeah.
But councils always chew up so much of that time, because they'll approve it, right, with all these conditions. And so that 2 years starts from the time that they approve it. And
does it?
and we actually had this on this particular townhouse development where the council approved, but then there was another 12 months worth of work that went into actually completing the plans and getting everything the way that they wanted it.
Yeah.
Before we could even look at going on site, and even then, it took a little bit longer. But we essentially had those 2 years chewed up by council stuffing around and saying, "Oh, we need landscape stuff. We need arborist reports for absolutely everything on the property, and we need all this stuff." But it's the challenge of building at the moment, and I don't know what it's like in Tas or up in Canberra, but in Melbourne, the most policed state in Australia, which is amazing to work in, there's new things that come in every day, and they just want to really stitch everyone up. But when it comes to it, the cost is just, in a lot of ways, it's becoming untenable to be able to even look at things. I mean, okay, we've got all the volume builders that are out there. So your large guys, but I don't think we need to sort of name any names. But when you consider that they've got their plans, they've got a system where they talk with the councils very well, and they've got their specific building surveyors that they use. Even though in Victoria, under legislation, a builder can't engage a building surveyor. And can't actually do that. It has to be the homeowner that does it. The thing with the volume builders is they've got their plans, they've got all that sort of stuff, and they can just basically just turn all this stuff over. But when you're doing a custom home or a renovation or anything like that, the cost is amplified in comparison to volume builders. But what we see is so many people think that, oh, well, the volume builders, that cost should be the same as what would cost us with a custom home builder to do it. But the reality is that that can't be done, right? Because unless it's a generic design, and it's been reeled off a million times before, and everybody knows that okay, well, that design's been done. It's been the cost of designing that was borne by everybody a long time ago. Unfortunately, that's not the same when it comes to a custom design or anything like that. So you've got to go and engage all these different people, and it does cost anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 in some cases, and some people want the most extravagant thing on the face of the earth, and then where some of the consultants that you need to speak to doesn't just stop with your building surveyor, doesn't stop with an architect or an engineer or a soil tester or anything like that, which is fairly basic if you go down that road. If we're talking a huge home that's got all some sustainability stuff in it, or looking at passive house or anything like that, you start getting all that sort of thing sort of engaged into a home. And I don't know, it seems as though everybody's expecting that cost to be borne by somebody else, not by the homeowner, to get that stuff designed. Because I mean, just the mechanical engineering that goes into a passive home,
Yeah.
is $5,000 straight off the bat just to get someone to look at it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a challenge, and to be able to sort of, I guess you could say, educate everybody on what's actually going on out there, and the differences between the volume builders compared to a custom home builder when it comes to all the custom stuff that we actually do.
Yeah.
It's where's that education sort of coming from, and we see it time after time where people come to us and they've got an idea, but how to achieve it is left to us. But then how do we actually deliver it for a cost that they are actually comfortable with as well?
Exactly.
Mm. That's an interesting point you make about the council over there. As soon as the building permit's issued, you've got 2 years. Yeah, that's completely different the way it's done here in Tassie, because our building permits only last for 12 months, and then you can renew them. Obviously, it's a cost, but it can be renewed. But that date doesn't start until the start works notice is put in.
Mm.
So once we've got a stamped set of plans, pretty much it's up to the builder to submit the start works notice 48 hours before starting the work, and then you've got 12 months to complete the project.
Yeah, so that's on a building permit.
Yeah.
Where what I was sort of referring to was a planning permit.
Yeah. Okay.
And the planning permits, they have different conditions and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's frustrating because just their letter saying that, yes, we approve this, but we've got all these conditions.
Mm.
And those conditions could take a long time to actually process and get all that stuff sorted out. But it's just that fun part where you're sort of left there with, okay, well, from the moment that they say your planning permit has been approved conditionally,
Yeah.
that's the date that those 2 years start from.
Yeah.
So you got 2 years to start the works, or you've got to ask for an extension of time to do it. So, Yep, fun one.
Yeah, I reckon.
Councils, they're so much fun. Don't worry, we're not lambasting councils too much today.
No. So yeah, I think like Paul was saying, most of the time with smaller projects and renovations that you need to contact a building designer, I would usually say about that 4 months, 12 weeks before you're going to be able to have anything done. But certainly anything that needs a DA could be up to 12 months. So plus the cost of it, depending on how many things you need to get involved as well. So I think it's a really important chat to have with people who are looking at taking on a project, whether it be a new home, renovation, extension, or building we get it here a bit in Tassie, building a shack, because shacks can be a lot more expensive than people realise. To talk to a builder and get an idea of what those associated costs and timelines can be before they even get the ball rolling. Because in the end, I think they'll probably save themselves some money and not more time than needed. So,
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Do you have anything else, Paul, you wanted to add to it?
No, look, I think we sort of covered most of it. You could talk about that stuff all day, couldn't you, if you wanted to? So there's always a lot of stories. So, but no, I think, yeah, basically that's the main part about it. It's the main issues the main hurdles we have to get through to get from our quote stage through to quote acceptance stage through to getting that excavator on site, like you said, doing.
Yep, definitely. And there is definitely a process to it. So excellent. Well, I think that'll wind up this one. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next podcast of Builders Beyond Borders.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
So guys,
See you later.
see ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.